Welcome. In this video, we are going to be looking at dimensional analysis and conversion rates. So we're going to start out by finding unit rates. Anytime we are looking for a unit rate, we're looking at the per one of something, and unit rates are very common and very helpful because they can help us calculate things easily, also understand what things mean when we're comparing different things. So if we have 4 pounds of apples cost $1.96 and we want to find the unit rate, first we have to figure out what unit we want to know. So do we want to know dollars per pound or pounds per dollar? Most of the time here, we'd want to know dollars per pound, but there might be instances where you'd like to know the other one. We'll look at both in our next example. So if I want to know dollars per pound, I'm first going to set up what I know is that it's $1.96 per 4 pounds. So if I want to find per 1 pound, this is just division. So we're actually going to divide 196 divided by 4, and 196 divided by 4 is 0.49, which means that it costs 49 cents per pound of apples. So that's a unit rate because it's per 1 pound rather than per 4 pounds. Okay, this next one we're going to look at it both ways. A donut shop makes 4 dozen donuts every 18 minutes. Find the unit rate to the nearest hundredth and the reciprocal unit rate. So the reciprocal unit rate is just looking at it the other way. So we could look at how many donuts per minute or how many minutes per donut, and both of those could be useful depending on what we're looking at. So let's start off by figuring out how many donuts this is. 4 dozen donuts, that's 4 12s, so that's 48 donuts for every 18 minutes. Okay, so we could look at this as 48 donuts per 18 minutes to figure out how many donuts per minute, or we could look at it as 18 minutes for every 48 donuts and find out how many minutes per donut. So if we go this way, we're just going to do 48 divided by 18, and we get 2.6 repeating, so 2 2/3 donuts per minute, which means they finish between 2 and 3, 2 2/3 donuts per minute. Okay, if we go the other way, we have 18 divided by 48. So we get this 375 minutes per donut, which means it takes 0.375 minutes to produce each donut. So either way, those could be helpful things to know, and depending on what we're looking at. The last one here, this is the common one. Alan and Taylor drove 576 miles in 8 hours. What was their average speed? So we know miles for 8 hours. We want to know miles per 1 hour. So if it's 576 miles per 8 hours, we're just going to divide 576 divided by 8, and we get that that's 72 miles per 1 hour. So that means on average they drove 72 miles per hour. That doesn't mean they drove 72 miles per hour the whole time. They could have driven faster than that for some of the time, slower than that for some of the time, but on average that's the speed they were going. Okay. The next thing we're going to look at is some actual conversions. So conversions are just changing our units using the relationship between different units. So we want to look at what am I starting with and what am I going to end up with. So if I want to know how many tablespoons are in 1 cup, my goal is to end up with tablespoons per cup. Right? That's what I want to have at the end, is how many tablespoons per 1 cup. So if I want to get there, I need to know some relationship between tablespoons and something. So if you flip back a couple pages in your packet, we do have some conversion rates here for you. And these are by no means all of the conversion rates. But if I'm looking here, I can see, okay, I know something about tablespoons here and tablespoons here, cups here, cups here, cups here. We're trying to relate tablespoons to cups. So here cups are related to fluid ounces And here tablespoons are related to fluid ounces. So we can use the fluid ounces as a go-between to get from tablespoons to cups. So I know there's 8 fluid ounces per 1 cup. So let's start there. Sorry, too many pages there. 8 fluid ounces per 1 cup. So I know that this is a true statement. There are 8 fluid ounces per 1 cup. But then we also know that our goal here, cups, there we're good, but we want tablespoons up here. So I'm going to multiply by how do fluid ounces relate to tablespoons. And I want the fluid ounces to go away. So if I have fluid ounces divided by fluid ounces, just like anything divided by itself, those fluid ounces are going to go away. So how do fluid ounces relate to tablespoons? We were told there are 2 tablespoons per 1 fluid ounce. So there are units that we're going to end up with tablespoons per cup, which is what we want. Then we just have our fractions that we're multiplying, so we're going to multiply straight across, right? This is like multiplying by 1. This 1 is just a relationship between 2 different units that are equal to each other. So 8 times 2 is 16. We get 16 tablespoons per 1 times 1, which is 1 cup, which is what we wanted. If we ended up with something besides 1 here, we would just use our unit rate practice that we just did to divide that out and get a unit rate rather than a per something else. Let's try another one here. On average, an adult human heart beats 70 times per minute. At this rate, how many times does a heart beat in a year? Okay, so our goal is to have beats per year for 1 year. And we know to start out, it beats 70 beats per minute. Okay, so we already have beats here, that's what we want. Okay, sorry, you can't see that. But our goal is to get to years, and right now we're in minutes in our denominator. So let's use some relationships that we know that are equal to get there. So I don't know how many minutes are in a year. What do I know about minutes? To get us closer to a year, I know that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. I want these minutes to go away. Right now they're in the denominator. So I'm going to put my minutes in the numerator. And then I have minutes denominator, minutes numerator. Now I'm in hours. Okay, I want to get to years. We're getting closer, getting bigger units. What do we know about hours? I know there's 24 hours in a day. So 24 hours for 1 day. Hours. Okay, now we're in days. We're getting closer. Okay, and I know there are 365 days in a year. Right, that's what we're told here. Sometimes that varies. Some years have 366 days. And so then days. Okay, and look, we're left with beats in my numerator and years in my denominator, which is what I wanted. Denominator is 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, 1 year. Awesome. Numerator, we're going to end up with a big number here. We get 70 times 60 times 24 times 365. Should be a really big number, right? We're looking at how many times does your heart beat in a year? Some commas in there so we can make sense of it. 36,792,000 beats in 1 year. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple more examples here, utilizing those ones conversion rates to help us get where we're trying to go. So we have a car traveling 120 kilometers per hour. So I know I have 120 kilometers per hour. My goal is to get to miles per hour. Use the conversion factor of 1 mile is 1.6 kilometers. So I'm going to multiply by my conversion factor. I want miles up here, so I'm going to put miles there, and I'm trying to get rid of my kilometers, so I'm going to put them opposite. There's 1 mile for every 1.6 kilometers. So if I multiply that, kilometers, those divide out. I'm left with miles and hours. But if I multiply across the top, I get 120 miles per 1.6 hours. that's not what I want. I want miles per 1 hour. So we're going to put together our unit rate here. Say what is 120 divided by 1.6 to get that per 1 hour. And we get that 75 miles per 1 hour we're looking for. Okay, so if you don't end up with a unit rate here, just divide it out to get to your unit rate. Okay, a couple more examples here. In France, we have this TGV Réseau train. It runs 200 miles per hour. How many feet per second is this? So we're starting out with 200 miles per hour. Oh, now we got to change both of them because what I want to end up with is feet per second. Feet per 1 second is our goal here. Okay, so that means I need to get miles to be feet and hours to be second. Which one you start with, it does not matter. So I'm going to deal with my miles first. Okay, if you're not sure about miles, maybe take a look at your conversion rates. Hopefully this is one that you get more and more comfortable with. There are 5,280 feet for every 1 mile. I want my miles to cancel out here, so they were in the numerator. I put them in the denominator to cancel out. Then I'm left with feet in my numerator, which is what I want in my numerator. Now let's deal with my hours. You might know how many seconds there are in an hour. Personally, I don't keep track of that. So we could go hours to minutes. There are 60 minutes for every 1 hour. I put my hours in the numerator so that they divide out here. And then there are 60 seconds for every 1 minute to get rid of those minutes so that we end up in our seconds. Okay, so then multiply across your numerator. I'm going to take our 200 times 5,280. We get 105,600 feet per 60 times 60 in my denominator. 3,600 seconds, but I want feet per 1 second. So let's take this divided by 3,600 and we get 293.33 or 293 and 1/3 feet per second. Okay, so we're just methodically going through multiplying by these ones, right? These things are equal to each other, so we can exchange them using that conversion rate. Oh, this next one is lovely. A booger drips down from your nose at a rate of 5 inches in 20 seconds. 5 inches per 20 seconds. And I want to know how many miles per hour that is. So I need to change inches into miles and seconds into hours. So again, doesn't matter which one we start with our seconds this time. So seconds, I know there are 60 seconds per 1 minute. I put my seconds so that they divide out. Now I'm in minutes, but I don't want to be in minutes. I want to be in hours. So I know there are 60 minutes for every 1 hour. Okay, minutes. Okay, and then we're in hours there, so we're good. We're in inches, we need to be in miles, so I may not have left myself enough space here. It's okay. I'll squeeze it in inches. I don't know how many inches in a mile, but I do know there are 12 inches per 1 foot. Inches numerator, inches denominator. Now I'm in feet. Okay, and I know that there are 5,280 feet for every 1 mile. Oh, look, we squeezed it in there. So feet, and we're left now with miles and hours. Those are our remaining things, so that we can multiply straight across. So numerator, 5 times 60 times 60. End up with 18,000 miles. The denominator, we have 12 times 1 times 1 times 12 times 5,280. 760,320. Right, but I want miles per 1 hour, so I'm going to take my 18,000 divided by that 760,320. If you want to use that previous answer, you can just hit second and then your negative sign. It'll pull up whatever your previous answer was on your calculator. So here we get 0.0236 blah 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 miles per hour. So not very fast is the answer there on how fast it's going, which hopefully makes sense, right? Not racing down your nose. So if we're going to round that to the nearest 100th, that would be 0.02 miles per hour. Okay, so let's take a look at another one here. If we go ahead and take a look at this last one. At 3 months old, Daryl is growing at a rate of 24 ounces per month. And our goal is to figure out how fast he is growing in pounds per year. So if we look at how I back up, I just realized we did this wrong. Okay. This is not 12 seconds, it's 20 seconds. So we should have done 20 times 12 times 5,280. Thought something seemed off there. Okay, so our denominator here is 1267200. Sorry about that. So if we take our 18,000 divided by that answer, we get this miles per hour. Sorry about that. Thought something seemed off. Okay, make sure you use the correct numbers that are in your denominator there and don't make up random other ones. Let's go back to Daryl. Daryl's growing at a rate of 24 ounces per month. What is his growth rate in pounds per year? So we know he's growing 24 ounces per month. Our goal is pounds per year. So we need to get ounces to pounds and months to year. You decide what you want to start with. I know there are 12 months in 1 year. Right, months my denominator, so I put it in the numerator to divide out. And I know there are 16 ounces in a pound. My ounces are in the numerator, so put them in the denominator to get rid of ounces. Now we're left with pounds, years, multiply straight across. 24 times 12. Let's see if I can get the correct numbers in here today. 288. And the denominator, 1 times 1 times 16. So he's going to grow 288 pounds in 16 years. Probably not. You slow down your growth rate, which is good. Divided by 16 to get our unit rate, and we get 18 pounds per year. Okay, so our big thing with conversion rates is make sure you're using these nice ones to multiply to change your units from whatever you're starting with to whatever you're trying to get. So starting off with this is what I have and this is where I'm trying to get, and then working your way to get there is a great place to start. Making sure we end with these nice unit rates by dividing if we need to at the end. That is all for today. Thank you so much for watching.